Good morning, students. In the previous classes, I have explained you the basic concepts like acids and bases, about oxidation and reduction, and also introduction of organic chemistry. So, what is organic chemistry? How the reactions takes place in organic chemistry, and what type of fissions occurs in organic chemistry, homolytic fission and heterolytic fission, and also which type of reagents are used in organic chemistry, electrophiles, nucleophiles, free radicals, and all such type of things are discussed in the previous classes. Now, in the today's class, I will explain you about another most important concept, that is called nomenclature of organic compounds. How can we name an organic compound? So today's our topic is nomenclature. Generally, in order to name an organic compound, one union. So some scientists have given, a group of scientists have given some rules. That group of scientists, that process, who gave some rules in order to give the rules for identifying the name for organic compound is called as IUPAC. So what is the abbreviation for IUPAC? Means International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry. That's why we will call the name as IUPAC nomenclature. So in order to name the organic compound, this group of scientists have given some rules. That's why we will call it as IUPAC nomenclature of organic compounds. So what is the abbreviation for IUPAC? Means International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry. So, in order to name an organic compound, or if we have to give the name for a particular compound, some systematic rules are given by this IUPAC. So, here, in order to name the compound, we should follow 3 steps, which are very important even to name a small compound also. So, here, in order to name the compound, or in order to give the name for a compound, the 3 important rules, there are very many rules in order to give the name for a compound. Among them, the most important rules are as follows, which will be explained now by me. So here, in order to name the compound, what are the 3 steps, or what are the 3 processes in order to name the organic compound? So in order to name nomenclature, we should follow 3 steps. Among them, first one is word root, which is also called as root word. Second one is suffix. Third one is prefix. These are the most important rules which are used to name the organic compound. There are many rules. Among them, the first 3 are very important. So here, word root will be discussed now. First one. So here the first step is word root. So what word root indicates? What it explains? So it indicates the name of carbon present in the carbon chain. So if one carbon is present, what we have to call or what we have to write like that. So it indicates the name of the carbon and also number of the carbons present in it can be determined by this word root. So here I will write number of carbon and word root. Here if it contains one carbon, then we will call it as methyl. If it contains two carbons, then we will call it as ethyl. If it contains three carbons, then we call it as pro. If it contains four carbons, then we call it as bu. If it contains five carbons, then we call it as pent. If it contains six carbons, then we will call it as hex. If it contains 7, then it call it as hept. 8 carbons, oct. 9 carbons, neo. 10 carbons, deco. So this is the first step which indicates the name and number of carbons present in the carbon chain. So if it contains one carbon, then we should call it as methyl, 2 carbons eth, 3 carbons pro, 4 carbons but, 5 carbons pent, 6 carbons hex, 7 carbons hept, 8 carbons oct, 9 carbons neo, 10 carbons deco. So these are the first step. This is the first step. And whereas coming to second one, what is the second step? Suffix. Here suffix is again classified into two types: primary suffix, secondary suffix. What primary suffix represents and what secondary suffix represents? So here primary suffix. Primary suffix. Here primary suffix indicates the nature of the carbon bond present between two carbon atoms. If there is a presence of single bond between them, what we have to call it? If there is a presence of double bond, then how can we call it? If there is a presence of triple bond between carbons, then how can we call it that? So the nature of the carbons or nature of the bond between two carbons can be explained by primary suffix. So if there is a presence of single bond between carbon atoms, then we should call it as ane. If there is a presence of double bond, then we should call it as ane. If there is a presence of triple bond, then we should call it as ine. So this is the what primary suffix indicates. So primary suffix explains the nature of the bond between two carbon atoms. These are saturated and these two are unsaturated, which I have explained in the previous class. If there is a presence of single bond, then we call it as saturated compounds. If there is a presence of double bonds and triple bonds, then they are called as unsaturated compounds, like that. So here primary suffix. Whereas coming to secondary suffix, what secondary suffix explains? So secondary suffix explains the functional group present in the given compound. So there are various functional groups, various types of functional groups. Among them, I will write here only the important functional groups. There are various functional groups, up to 10 to 15 functional groups are present. Now, I will write here only the important functional groups which will commute, which are very useful to you while writing the nomenclature. So while studying this lesson in first year chemistry, then we should know all the functional groups. But now for your understanding purpose, now I am telling only few functional groups. So secondary suffix indicates the nature of the functional group, and also what is the functional group, what we should call it as, that is explained by secondary suffix. So if there is a presence of functional group OH, then we should call it as ol. If there is a presence of functional group CHO, then we should call it as all. If there is a presence of functional group COOH, we should call it as oic acid. If there is a presence of function group C double bond O, then we should call it as non. So, and also if there is a presence of function group ROR, then it is called ether. If there is a presence of function group RCOOR, then it is called ester. So these are the main functional groups I am telling. So if there is presence of OH, then it is called ol, CHOR, COOH oic acid, C double bond O non, ROR ether, RCOR ester. And next, here prefix also it is classified into two types: primary prefix, secondary prefix. Here suffix has two types and prefix also can be explained by two ways. Here, in the case of explaining the prefix, what primary prefix explains, what secondary prefix explains. Primary prefix explains if there is a presence of any cyclic compound, then we should add the word cyclo before the name. That what primary prefix explains. So if any compound is in the cyclic form or it is in the structural form, then we should name the word cyclo before its name. For example, if its name is butane, then we should write first cyclo, then we should write the butane. That's what primary prefix indicates. So primary prefix, what it explains means, what it tells means, if there is a presence of any cyclic group, we should add the word cyclo before the name. That what primary prefix indicates. So here primary prefix, what indicates means, if there is presence of cyclic compounds, we should add the word cyclo before the name. So for example, here I am writing this as compound. How can we name this compound means, here 4 corners are there, 1, 2, 3, 4. Each corner will contain 1 carbon. 4 carbons means what is the root word? Bu. 4 carbons it contains, so the root word is bu. Which type of bonds are present here? Single bonds. Then what we have to call? Ane. So the name of this compound is butane. That is the name I am writing. So here it is in circular form. That's why I should write the word cyclo before the name. So here I should write cyclo. The name of the compound is cyclobutane. That's what the primary prefix explains. Whereas coming to secondary prefix, it explains the substituent present in the carbon chain. So it indicates, it names the substituents present in the carbon chain. So what are the different types of substituents present in that? So for example, if it is F, then it is called as fluoro. If it contains Cl, then we should call it as chloro. If it contains Br, then we should call it as bromo. If it contains I, we should call it as iodo. If it contains CH3, methyl. C2H5, ethyl. NH2, name of the substituents present in the carbon chain. Here also there are various substituents. I have written only some substituents only. So while writing the names, remaining substituents will be explained. So while writing IUPAC nomenclature, first 3 rules are very important. That's why I am explaining first 3 rules first. Thank you. And again, in the next class, I will explain how to write the name of the organic compound.